This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Yeah, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what's on tap for us today?
Well, it's not something I was expecting to talk about, now or like recently or in the future. But hey, I actually used Amazon's last big Prime Day sale. You know how it works. Their big buy two get one free sale. In terms of graphic novels and all, in order to get stuff. And so I decided to use that to catch up on all of the GI Joe side of the Energon universe. And you're maybe wondering, like, well, Jason, like, why haven't you been reading the GI Joe side of the Energon universe beforehand? Well, it's like, it's the main writer behind it, like, Joshua Williamson. Like, he's not really done a lot of stuff that I've really been, excited about. I mean, it's like I tried his first one of his creator-owned series Nailbiter, and that was yeah. I tried Birthright, his series about the chosen one who turns out to be the evil, like the harbinger of evil for its universe, and I didn't actually get much further to it beyond its fourth volume, and his DC stuff Batman and Superman just didn't really excite me, so I kind of just written off oh hey, Joshua Williamson is doing the GI Joe side of the Energon universe. Yeah, fine, pass. Maybe I'll check this out at some point, but not really. But then it's we get into the Energon universe and we get these teases. The bits hey, when Starscream goes after that one guy and his partner in the it's like in the fighter jet in the first volume of Transformers, and we find out that, oh, wait a second, the other guy who escapes, that's Duke. Okay, I see. And then recently with Void Rivals Volume 3, we see oh, wait a second, these are some enforcers from Cobra Law, trying to track down the it's the trying to find out what's going on with the Cybertron war. It's in the far reaches of the galaxy. So I'm starting to think okay, maybe there's some reason that I should check this out. But also, Williamson has also delivered some good work on his Superman stuff he's been writing, specifically with his first volume of Superman Super Corps, where excuse me, where where Lex Luthor has been imprisoned by Superman for his latest scheme, after he decides that well, after Superman revealed his identity as Clark Kent to the world in the Bendis run, well, Lex Luthor suddenly realized that, okay, maybe we do need a Superman, but if that's going to happen, it's only going to be for the reasons that I decide. And so then he set things up so that everyone forgot who Superman was, except, and if they did remember, they get a stroke, because of it, because hey, Lex Luthor still a bad guy, and he basically set things up so that hey, all of LexCorp's abilities would be at Superman's disposal, and I really liked that stuff. Lex, Superman and Lex working together, but Lex trying to dictate the terms of this relationship, and also Lex it being revealed over the course of the of the Williamson written volumes of Superman that Lex had been trying to be someone who brought order to Metropolis, but also someone who just was just stomped all over some kind of bad dudes, and those bad dudes just coming back to try and exact their revenge on Lex as a result. I like that. So I was starting to think, okay, maybe it is time to give Williamson's approach to GI Joe a shot. After Amazon does their does their sale on things, or if I can just find out a decent way to get these at a low price, which I did. And if you're thinking well, let's see, Jason, these are 5 volumes of comics right here. What was the sixth volume? Well, it was the most recent volume of Poison Ivy, which I enjoyed. So there you go. But in terms of like these things, there are four GI Joe Prelude comics leading into like the main like the first main volume of GI Joe. And the first one is Duke, because it basically picks up on what happened to Conrad Hauser after he had his close encounter with Starscream, and after Starscream killed his best bud. And Conrad is just pissed about what the hell is happening here? Like, what isn't my government telling me about this? And his subtitle for his volume, knowing is half the battle, is not just a cute reference to the end of episode mantra for the 80s TV series, but it's also all about Duke just trying to find out just what's going on here, what's the real story here. And while General Hawk isn't willing to tell him this, he's got his own way of finding out about what's going on here, and that leads him to hook up with his old buddy Clutch, meeting up with the Baroness in the pit, Destro as his in his role as like the head of the Mars Industry series, like I'm part of weapons dealers. It's like, and just just trying to figure out just what's that there's a much bigger conflict brewing here than just hey, it's like than just transforming robots appearing on Earth. And even though and the volume ends with with Duke finding out like the biggest scope of this conflict, but also just realizing that hey, I've got to have friends in order to help me out with this. It's it's not bad, but I can't say it's it offers like a whole lot of surprises as well. It just it's kind of feels like it's meant to serve the reestablishing the GI Joe concept within this new universe, and that's not bad. But it just does a lot of familiar stuff. Bringing up formula familiar guys Stalker and Rock and Roll, in General Hawk and Destro. The one thing it probably does do new that more than anything else is reintroducing the Baroness, but she's as evil and duplicitous as she was in the in the original universe, or at least as far as I'm familiar with GI Joe. But she's but Duke kind of wins her over, in terms of like setting her up as someone who's who realizes that the world is not as I see it, but there's more than meets the eye here. Wink, wink. It's Duke is, I guess, it's a solid enough introduction, but it doesn't really do anything new in terms of just establishing the GI Joe concept, which I guess probably a good time to explain that that I've got a lot of friends who are thoroughly into Transformers. I mean, John obviously, but also a lot of mutual friends as well. But as far as the GI Joe side of things, there's not really a whole lot that have talked about their long-standing affection for the franchise. I remember watching it as a kid 30 years ago. I remember the a whole it's 5-part watch these episodes every weekday introduction to the concept. I remember striking 2-part episodes where Shipwreck I guess shown as defeating Cobra, but then he's also living a normal life as his wife and kid, but that turns out to be a lie as well. And then there's the 1-2-part episode where this one guy is cajoled into being a Cobra double agent. And what another episode where like this one Joe is like working with a like a cobra with a cobra agent on this like island where they got this like weird chthonic entity that's coming to kill them both, but then eventually the both of them escaping and her tearing off her cobra like emblem to show that she's like disavowed their ethos. It's like, yeah, I remember GI Joe like from a kid, but it's not like the same like resonance like as it did with my, I guess, the Transformers. Mainly because like I don't have a lot of friends who just bring up like, hey, it's like we're totally into like collecting like trans like GI Joe these days, as opposed to Transformers. But there you go. That's kind of how things are. So it's, I guess that's also another reason why I wasn't like as gung ho about collecting these comics. And with along with like the second Joshua Williams had written um a miniseries Cobra Commander, because yeah, we've got like like Duke, like the quintessential GI Joe guy, telling us about his story. But now what about the like the Kai Cobra's leader and what he's up to? Well, basically starts out, establishing like the existence of Cobra Law, the it's like the existence of the reptilian head of like these beings who like value like flesh and biologic like superiority more than anything else. So when it's revealed that that Cobra Commander, or he's not called Cobra Commander yet, but we don't know, we're not actually told like what to refer to him as beyond this in the miniseries and what follows. Well, it's like it turns out like Cobra Commander, he's got Megatron in his basement. Yeah. So, but he realizes that hey, this is something that he can use to like achieve like superiority and world domination using the Cybertronian tech. But the actual head of Cobra Law, Golobulus, well, he's not about to engage in that line of like thinking until like Cobra Commander tells him that there's this like power source powering this guy that we can use to like supercharge like our like Cobra Law's reign. This is of course Energon, and Cobra Commander is given reign to explore this this power source, and it leads him to the dreadnoks. Not Zartan himself, but no, all the grape soda loving people who who live in like live in the bayou swamps, and there and the excuse me, it's like the doctor they've got working to like expand this power source. It's like it's all like about setting up like Cobra Commander as like the like as an egomaniacal like head who's determined as the like a volume subtitle like goes. Well, he's determined to rule the world. He just has to like find the proper way to do this. And even if like Williamson tries to frame this as a horror story, it's more of an action horror story. In the bits where it's told that hey, like Cobra Commander is just like being manipulative, or just like like just being like being ruthless. It's like, oh, it's like he's a bad guy. He's really villainous. He's maybe not as cartoonish as he comes off as in the in the animated series from back in the day. But it's like he's still just out out to like like prove himself as just like, hey, I am better than everyone else. Everyone else can just go to hell, and doesn't matter like who I need to like team up with. It's like I'm going to be the one to it's like to use this new technology in order to like establish my dominance like, over the world. Whether it's like like Golobulus in corporate law, or Destro as the leader of Mars industry. So so it's so like this. I think it's like it's a fine like setup for like Cobra Commander here, but it's like I can't say that like I was like like thoroughly like compelled by what here. It was good. I mean, and the art from Andrea Milana, like it's definitely solid, and also like the work from Tom Riley and Duke is also like perfectly capable as well. Like maybe it's not like big on like like thorough detail, but like it's good for telling the story and just it's like and and it's good telling the story. It's like and there's a lot of energy behind the work as well. It's like it's also interesting to see Milano's approach to like portraying like Destro like in his like metal helmet, which hey, it's like thoroughly it shouldn't um move, but it does because like we've got to give some expression to this guy, and it's really like more thoroughly seen in Andre Bresson's work in the Destro miniseries, where it's basically just hey, he's got a metal helmet like that resembles his face, but it's basically just his face moving along with it, which I'm fine with that, and I think that Bresson's work here is like like is like works pretty well. It's like along with Milana's like one issue pitch in it as well. But Destro is all about establishing James McCullen Destro as the like premier weapons dealer like of the Energon universe, and also just how he has to butt heads with everyone else who wants to like lay claim to that title, including the Crimson Twins like Tomax and Zelmo. So yeah, they're essentially the main like antagonists here. But there's also Chameleon, which I've read is a also a character in the GI Joe mythos, but she's been drastically reimagined here, which is nice. But Dan Waters, like the writer of this miniseries, is just like trying to establish Destro as just like a similarly ruthless and domineering personality who is essentially teaming up with Cobra Commander because he realizes that hey, I can be led to greater heights here by working with this guy who also has his own power base. But it's like but it's perfectly fine, and just it's more of a like character portrait for this character rather than just feels like something that is just like key to the you know like building blocks of the Energon universe. Even though at the very end it teases like oh, there's something else that's coming down from Earth that Cobra Commander can use that maybe from Cybertron as well. But then we get to the next and last of the leading series, and in fact the one that has the least impact on the current like GI Joe series I've read so far. That is Scarlet, from Kelly Thompson and artist Marco Ferrari. Ferrari does really solid work in terms of like like portraying the title character as a badass secret agent who like while she's like initially introduced as working with the U.S. military in terms of like fighting human trafficking, when she encounters her former friend Jinx Wah on on a mission, she realizes that like I need to find out just what she's doing, and just get the so I can see if I can extract her from from whatever trouble she's in. Well, it turns out that Jinx has actually infiltrated Clan Arashikage, which like longtime GI Joe fans will know is like the ninja clan that is like get that is home to Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. It is the latter that is present here, in that when it's like when Scarlet like tries to like infiltrate and prove her worth to this clan. Well, Storm Shadow is like the one that she winds up having to butt heads with. It's like along with their leader cleverly named Hard Master. And it's like in order to like prove her worth, she has to like not only just after like fighting her way through the like like the like the regular members of the clan, she winds up having to like assist them on a mission in order to recover a like a legendary sword, like the sword of life that will apparently like empower Clan Arashikage in their future efforts. In terms of like relevance to like the ongoing GI Joe storyline, Scarlet has the least relevance so far, but I don't doubt that there's going to be it'll be important later on, particularly when Scarlet shows up in the GI Joe series proper, which hasn't happened yet, but like, it's only a matter of time, really, obviously. But it's a decent like spy action series, like well written by Thompson. That like I like the vibe she gives with Scarlet, like as a strong willed like smart ass capable capable and also like her rapport with Jinx also rings true as well. I just kind of wish we got more of the irreverent vibe that we that I've seen from her previous work with excuse me, with DC and Marvel, which is kind of missing here, like unfortunately. But yeah, it's like I'd like to see what goes on with Scarlet in the future, but we don't get that because the proper first volume of GI Joe, written by Williamson, illustrated by Riley, the Cobra Strikes. Well, that actually picks up from the events of Transformers Volume 2 after that big old chunk of Cybertron winds up in the Pacific Ocean. And so once and when it's revealed that like that like Duke's team of GI Joe members is going to be like transporting a section of it for research. Well, it's like they wind up coming face to face with the new threat posed by Cobra. You know, the collective represented by Cobra Commander, Destro, the Crimson Twins, and the other characters introduced in the previous introductory volumes. It's a good, solid, action heavy volume that also finds a way to introduce Dr. Venom and his brainwave like device as as we're told that it's going to be used to brainwash like a lot of people within a certain radius of its activation, and those people who are like within a mile of it, they're just gonna die. But everyone else beyond that, they'll just be subservient to Cobra. And so you've got Duke and his team, trying to like excuse me, trying to find a way to address this threat. It's solid. Like the action works well. It's like, and yeah, I kind of thought the bits where Duke and Cobra Commander, like argue against each other, and like Cobra Commander does the whole like you and me, we are not so different, you and I. Like that was cute, but it's it's like big military action, like done well enough with the introduction of some new characters. But I was like, I can't really say like I was really surprised by a lot of like what I read here. It was competently executed, to be sure, but like the big like, oh my god, it's like I didn't see that coming. It's like that I didn't get that here. It's like the whole like Superman and Lex Luthor working together. It's like that vibe wasn't here as well. I mean, I know that Baroness is working with the GI Joes here, but I honestly kind of get the feeling that maybe we're just heading towards a longer return to form here, where she just like eventually stabs him in the back. Will that happen? We'll see how that goes. But as it is, like the like I think like everything from the GI Joe side of things on the Energon universe is perfectly fine. And it was interesting to see, like some bits like pay off here. Like like when like Cobra Law shows up in volume 3 of Void Rivals, I realize that's paying off from like how they were set up at the end of the Cobra Commander um miniseries. Oh, and also there's another Transformer that shows up at the end of the first volume of G.I. Joe, because hey, there's plenty of Transformers that they can use for this, like for this kind of thing. And that was cute. But in terms of just like really like getting me excited or making you think like, oh man, I should have like I should have read this before now, or I should have like told John like, dude, you need to buy all these right now. Well, no, I don't think you need to. It's like if you're like we've been up to this point and you're just reading you know uh like Void Rivals and Transformers, I think that you're not necessarily missing out on a whole lot by reading like GI Joe, like the GI Joe side of things for the Energon universe. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's great stuff at this point. Like, and in fact, rather than just trying to like cajole John to like to read these volumes, I'll probably be writing up my thoughts on subsequent volumes of GI Joe, like in the it's like in the blog as well. This includes the upcoming Dreadnought War like arc that involves it's like Duke trying to bring in Courier Commander by way of a midnight run with the Dreadnoughts trying to reenact Mad Max Fury Road at the same time, which hey, when it was pitched to me at the Energon Universe panel at Comic-Con this year, sounds like a lot of fun, but will it actually be that way in execution? Eh, we'll see. As it is, GI Joe stuff. For the Energon universe, not bad. But if you're not reading it right now, wouldn't say you're missing that much, really. So there you go.
Well, all right then. I won't go and run out and get it. Since
I
I
don't know.
got
It's like, are you a big fan of Hound?
mm, nice Jeep, but no, not
Okay,
necessarily.
then never mind then.
Yeah. Do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Actually, I think next time it's going to be probably harder than usual to figure out what to talk about. But I've got a break glass in cases of emergency podcast I'm subject to talk about. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
All right, we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Laters.